All right, check, check. We are live. How is this? Okay. Well, here's the Jeep motor. Doesn't look like it's had any leaks. Everything went together all nice. Um, but what sucks is it appears as if it has really bad rod knock. That's what we're thinking. Must have overheated the cases. This when we drained the engine oil, there really was no oil. It was mainly coolant. So it must have somehow burnt off really quick and yeah, it's really unfortunate. We're just now realizing that. So I guess the moral of the story is maybe initially after blowing a head gasket, depending on how long it was driven, most people are probably going to drive, going to drive their car until, they're not going to know, oh, I just, lost the radiator hose or major coolant leak. The temperature goes up. They keep driving or whatever, not thinking it's a big deal and pretty much destroy the motor. And it goes from a head gasket. Realistically, if the engine gets hot enough to destroy or make the head gasket rupture, there's a really high chance that other things are going to fail. Maybe not in every situation, but in this one, maybe there was a couple factors. One, we were going up a steep grade. Two, were towing a vehicle that was, probably around 4,000 pounds, around the same weight as this 3.7 liter Jeep Commander here. And yeah, we're basically what happened is this radiator hose right here failed. It basically split right here. And we heard a pop, but didn't think anything of it. We thought it was basically like the suspension maybe just hitting a bump in the road and just something kind of loose or whatever. But probably within a minute or two of that, the car started pretty much having the pedal all the way down to the floor, no power, lacking response, and we're just going up the hill. We didn't know, and then all of a sudden it started overheating and we just lost complete power, pulled off to the side of the road. So it happened very quickly. If maybe we're like going down the street and it failed, maybe it'd be a lot, easier to save. But in this particular situation, since we were towing a large, heavy vehicle, we're going up a really steep grade, max power, that pretty much destroyed this engine here. We're not sure where all the oil went. It might have came lost that oil through the head gasket, the oil ports, and it may have combined with the engine coolant. It's really weird because it wasn't milky; it was pretty dark, like only a little bit of black oil, and the majority of it was coolant. So this wouldn't say it spun a bearing, but it's very likely that the bottom end the connecting rod, lower bearing, is probably worn or we didn't see any metal shavings. But the other thing too, we're thinking is it's possible that we didn't necessarily hydrolock it, but could have maybe done some damage to a piston. We didn't really check when we were rotating it with the heads off. Really didn't have the opportunity to check to see if one piston was a little higher up than the others. Uh, Only like what I think it was this piston and like one of the other pistons over here, this one, and like one of the other ones were at top dead center, and the other ones were down in their stroke. So it's kind of hard to tell. It only ran like that for a couple minutes, so you know it's one of those things where you think like, oh, it only ran for like 2, 3, maybe 4 minutes tops, and we lost complete power because obviously the head gasket ruptured, so loss of compression, the motor stopped running. Uh, but it just sucks. We put a lot of labor into this. I probably have about 20 hours into doing the top end on this thing, taking it apart and pretty much getting it all back together. And it just kind of sucks. But I mean, it's nice. It starts right up. There was an electrical issue that we had before we took off. One of the O2 sensors was not working correctly, and when we pulled off the head, I already did electrical diagnostics, and I am like, oh, it has to be open, and not only is it open, but part of the wire is grounding out, which made complete sense. The wire was split in two and touching directly to the bell housing on the back of the engine block. So no check engine lights, starts and runs good, has a little bit of a tick at idle, kind of comes and goes just a little bit, and then as you give it more, um, as you give it more uh, throttle, increase the engine RPM, you that rod knock becomes more obvious, more adherent. So it's pretty much it on this motor right here. We already ordered a crate motor, a used one. It's supposed to come complete, if we're not mistaken. I think the timing cover, valve covers, everything. Probably just got to swap accessories, intake, fuel rail, that kind of stuff. But everything. So we're pretty much at this point. We're gonna take this engine back out as a whole. We're gonna disconnect the transmission, and I think we yank it out through the top. I think the fan has to come out, pull out the fan, pull all the stuff, drain the coolant again, and basically disconnect it. Disconnect the flywheel flex plate from the transmission. Uh, that's a fun one to do. You got to rotate the engine over to get access to each bolt that connects. So that's a fun one. And then, yeah, really hard to do if the engine's locked up or seized. But this engine's still good, so that's going to be the next step. Get the engine, have to disconnect it from the transmission, take all the shit off, of course, disconnect it from the transmission, yank it up and out, and yeah, then put the new one in, connect the transmission back up to it, put all the accessories on, maybe run a compression check. We're gonna have to put the starter on. Yeah, so pretty much just signed up for like another, if it goes smooth, probably like another 10 hours of work, maybe 12 hours of work to swap a motor. Or probably take 40. Who knows? I'm pretty comfortable with this engine now after spending the last 2 weeks. Pretty much doing a head gasket replacement on it. It's pretty straightforward. Feel pretty comfortable that I can I can bang these things out pretty good now. It's cheaper to just get a used engine than to rebuild it. And it just really sucks because this was a pretty much a rebuilt brand new engine, and it looked like it was professionally built, and we destroyed it. Um, so that's just the price of rice. But not a big deal. Got a new engine. I think we got it for under $1,000 or something like that. It's got on eBay. Supposedly, it only has 81,000 miles on it. Um, Hopefully, it's a legit seller. It looks like so. Hopefully, it should have good compression. Hopefully, nothing weird was done to it. Maybe we'll drop some oil, and we'll have to run a couple. Hopefully, we can run a couple tests on it before we actually drop it in, or who knows. I don't know. This will probably be our last attempt at trying to fix this thing, and then we're going to call it a day. So, for the meantime, I got two side by sides coming, so we got to get this thing off the jacks. Get this car off the jack stands here. Yep, got some jack stands. Clear this because tomorrow morning we're going to have two side by sides. Got a Polaris XP900 and a RZR 1000 coming in. So that's going to be fun. We're going to put this one on standby until our crate engine comes in. Yeah, I kind of want to fire it up here, see what it sounds like. Make sure it doesn't piss all over the place. Okay. Let's see if this thing turns on. How many? 201,000 miles. Sheesh. Oof. See if it's smoking. No, no smoking. So I think my head gasket's good. You hear a slight little knock. Son of a bitch. But stop smoking though. Yeah, stop smoking. So I'm thinking my head gasket job worked out. It just sucks it has freaking rod knocks. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and sucks that happened. I'm gonna go ahead and get this rocking and rolling. Hey, what's that? Let's see here. Where can I put it? Like right. Oh. Kind of like right in the middle so I can kind of balance it while pinching that lower line, which seems kind of a silly location. Okay. Get in. Huh. Where are those lights getting shut off? Fuck that. Okay. Oh, hey, hey. All right, ready? Ready? All right, watch out, watch out. Ready? Let's go, boy. Let's go. All right. Easy does it. Oh, you just sneezed all over me, fucker. Okay. All right, that's pretty much it. So get this thing out of the driveway and get it pretty much put this on standby. And to be honest, I really I mean I like to get it running, but oh man, what I guess it is a learning experience, for both motorcycles and car engines, depending on the extent of, hey, I have a blown head gasket, it's probably not worth fixing, or I just got to be straight up and tell people, like, hey, like, there's no guarantee on this, especially without doing a full engine rebuild. Usually, I would recommend a full engine rebuild. In a situation like that, I always recommend a full engine rebuild, just because most people typically don't do, like, at least on motorcycles and dirt bikes, they don't do like the common
interval maintenance of replacing pistons and whatnot. So typically that leads to more crankshaft wear. So if you miss those intervals, which nobody ever replaces their piston at, 20, 30, 40 hours, they probably usually ride it until there's no more compression. So typically we recommend doing a full engine rebuild. And in this particular situation, um, that's probably what I would have recommended too. But sometimes, you do what the customer wants. Customer just wants head gaskets. So we put head gaskets in for them, and starts and runs again now. Doesn't leak, no leaks, no smoke out the exhaust, but we got rod knock. So that's something I couldn't do for the customer. I couldn't take the rod knock out of the engine. That's a service that I'm not capable of doing without removing the whole engine and disassembling it. So this one's going to stay with rod knock inside the engine, just temporarily until we get our new used engine. Then we're going to swap it, and then technically it runs. Who knows how long it'll run for? uh, but maybe we'll take a video. I don't know if we're going to sell it or whatnot. It's technically only got less than 2,000 miles on it. Brand new pistons, heads. The only thing though is that crankshaft now. That's the issue. So motor technically has to come apart in order to fix that. The whole thing, all the work that I just did, you have to pretty much take the whole engine apart and redo it in order to get that bottom end out. For the most part, I want to say it's or could you leave it? Could you leave the heads on? I'm gonna think about that. Maybe you could. I'm not sure how that'd work with the time. Maybe if at least if you took off the timing chains, probably leave the heads on it. Take out the idler sprocket and the chains attached to that. Then pretty sure you could take. Let's see. Probably take the crankshaft out. I'm thinking that's how that works. But yeah, this is a fun one. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna get this swapped out, get this back over. And if you guys are just tuning in, it is Friday night, about 7:30 Southern California time. We're gonna be hopping on to our 2016 Gixxer 600 project. We're gonna finish up on the valve adjustment. And if you're following along with us last night, earlier, technically this morning, I think we started last night in the evening and finished around midnight. But we pretty much have the valve covers off and check the valve clearances. And we will be pulling out the cams and adjusting the exhaust valves, all 8 of them. So if you guys are interested in that, go ahead and stick around. We're going to be hopping on. We're going to be switching over from Jeep to motorcycle here in a minute. So stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button if you just found me. And stand by for about 30 minutes. We'll be right back.